The version of Destiny 2 that I played in September of 2017 sucked. Like, it was really, really bad. I felt slighted out of $60 at the time, because I felt like nobody had taken into consideration the problems that the original Destiny had. What really stuck out to me at the time was how Destiny 2 forced you to drudge through an extremely boring, badly written campaign in which an obese Diglett kicks you and the boys off your turf. The monetization model sucked too. I played maybe 6 hours and never touched it again. And it was a shame because I kept thinking to myself, all they have to do here is trim the fat and get rid of the monotony. I didn't feel like buying any of the expansions for when Forsaken came out, so all the hype that people were saying about Forsaken and how it was what we wanted Destiny to be didn't matter to me because the original experience left such a bad taste in my mouth. The company that was responsible for making the Halo series, which, if you haven't played, do yourself a favor, and when the Master Chief Collection comes out on PC, get it, seemed to have lost all their luster as a part of having to work with a company that had too much creative oversight over their product. Much of the staff had left to go work for 343 Industries on the new school Halo. Joe Staten, the lead writer for many of the Halo games, had built the blocks of Destiny's universe and conversely the story and lore, but left before the first game ever came out.
And finally we landed on a name for this thing and we called it The Traveler.
Marty the Goat O'Donnell, whose reputation precedes him, composed the soundtrack for Vanilla Destiny, and then got fired.
We could do the typical, hey everybody, I'm, want to spend more time with my family, blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, I saw no hope for this franchise. Activision won.
We can compete against.
They got what they wanted. A watered down, vanilla wafer, lukewarm, FPS to compete with every other publisher out here trying to do the same thing. Destiny 2 is an MMORPG FPS. Or is it an MMO? What even is an MMO anymore? The only relevant one is run by China, so who cares?
Hey everybody, I'm Chinese!
You get into Destiny 2 by constructing a character from 3 different races. The Borings.
Literally making Chad, dude.
The Uwu Glowy Space Boys, and iRobot. And then of course the game's 3 distinct classes. Each class has 3 specs that deal either solar,
Oh, I'm burning! I'm burning!
arc, or void damage.
Kaboom!
Goodbye. Titans, the Giga Chads of Destiny. They like punching things.
I must break you.
I can do that. Fucking Sentinels protect their buddies with shields, then throw their shields at bad guys. Some breakers throw hammers. Hammer! Strikers will one-shot melee you. Sorry, hunters. Basically your rogues. Arc Striders get up close again. Gunslingers sling guns. And Night Stalkers go invisible. Warlocks, the best class. Space Wizards, Harry. You can go Emperor Palpatine on people, throw fire at people, or you can throw explodey purple shit at people. You pick your character and race, go through a quick tutorial section, and then you're good. Loot is comprised of armor, that's a headpiece, arms, chest, boots, and then a class-specific slot, and you get 3 weapon slots. One for kinetic weapons, that is, guns that use bullets, energy weapons, that is, guns that use lasers, and power weapons. There's also a subcategory called special weapons, and those consist of sniper rifles, shotguns, and other cool gadgets like fusion rifles, which charge up and fire a whole bunch of lasers in quick succession. They can be applied either to your kinetic weapon or energy weapon slots. You'll learn which guns are good and which ones aren't so good, probably from hearsay by your buddies who have been playing this game longer than you. Different weapon subtypes go along the lines of hand cannons, revolvers basically. Wait a minute. Did I make that shot? What? I'm not nuts? But... Oh no! Come on, man. What year is it? Did Gears of War 2 just come out?
Oh, fuck, Gavin. I'm stuck. I'm stuck on the wall, dude. I'm stuck on the wall! Dude! I can't... This is so not fair, dude. This game, I will never.
Console players get bullet magnetism, so logically we get it too. High skill, high risk, high noon? Revolver Ocelot. I have 2 cannons. Here we go. Oh shit. Hey! Get some.
Only 1 minute left. You're pretty good.
Submachine guns. Everyone's telling me to get a recluse. Apparently it's OP. Their damage falls off very, very fast, but they melt at close range. Machine guns. I don't have any machine gun footage yet. Scout rifles, which are apparently bad, but that's not gonna stop me. Slow rate of fire cap with scopes and high damage. Perfect for laning. Snipers. Duh. Shotguns. Duh. Except, haha, I tricked you. That's a slug shotgun. Beware the muzzle flash. Pulse rifles. Burst fire guns like the FAMAS and M16 from Modern Warfare 2.
Double down.
Grenade launchers. Duh. Fusion rifles I already mentioned. Rocket launchers. You'll never guess what they launch. Auto rifles. Automatic, as Denzel Curry once said, gotta have it, rifles. Bows. Not the audio company, like bow and arrow. There's also this thing called the wave splitter, which is like a sentinel beam from Halo. That's called a trace rifle. And linear fusion rifles do this. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about swords.
Man, I don't have time for this bullshit. I got a motherfucking sword.
I have a motherfucking sword! Ah! For MMO fans that like to mix and match and optimize every single little thing and experiment with different setups, don't worry, because you can experiment your little heart out. This game will shower you with stuff all the way up to the level cap, and then even more at the level cap. So how do you level up? I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want. The game will tell you to talk to a bunch of NPCs so you can get your main quests, but the rest is up to you, completely. Seriously, like, it doesn't matter. There's very little hand-holding here. There's a little bit of direction in the quest steps, but basically, the name of the game is to shoot aliens and get loot. And don't you worry, young Space Marine, there's plenty of Xenos to purge. Your targets include Spider-Man, obese mole rats, beep-boo-boo-beep, and the Taken, which are like weird space zombie versions of all of these. I forget the lore. Something to do with your boy Oryx. You'll hear his name probably like 50 million times. That is an African Oryx. That is the wrong picture. Basically, this dude wanted more smoke than any living thing in the Destiny universe. Different NPCs will give you stuff if you grind rep for them. That is, if you collect certain items, then give those items to them. Usually in a particular zone that entails the zone's specific items, then giving those items to the main quest giver at that zone. But at the tower, you can take apart the crappy loot you get, for instance, and give it to Banshee44, who will give you engrams of cool stuff every once in a while. Engrams are basically randomized loot generators. Or if you play a lot of Crucible, which is the game's main PvP mode, you can go to Lord Shax, and he'll give you stuff. Engrams from NPCs scale at your light level, so you don't have to worry about getting crappy loot. I actually got a scout rifle from the vanilla guy in the baby vanilla zone that's been there since vanilla. And it's like one of my favorite guns. And there you have it. That's basically Destiny. Shoot aliens, get cool stuff, shoot more aliens, get more cool stuff. And some people might go, well, is that it? I mean, kinda. The mission design in Destiny 2 is definitely improved drastically from vanilla. Plus, the content is spread out over a wide variety of zones, including places you might recognize on a map like Earth, Mercury, Mars, and some not so familiar places. All of which is free. Free.
This is free. It's free. Free.
You can get Shadowkeep for $40, Forsaken for $25, and guess what? Not getting Forsaken or not getting Shadowkeep, that doesn't keep you from playing with your friends. It doesn't keep you from queuing and doing the Scarlet Keep Strike, for instance, like I did with Kassan here.
No, why did I follow Raz? Why did I?
It doesn't constantly pester you going, hey, 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 buy the expansion. You can even do the first mission of the Shadowkeep expansion to see if you like it, and then buy it. For free! It's a free house! It's a free space vampire mansion that has glowy eyes in the hallway. Hey Dracula, get your fucking house! I'm not a vampire, I can't use it. Remember how back in the day Activision was all like, you see that big pile of money over there? And they made you pay for this expansion to get to this expansion to get to this expansion. I seriously have such a hard time complaining about any of this content. Destiny isn't just about aimlessly running around and shooting stuff. You can also run around aimlessly and shoot stuff, but in a more linear, more guided fashion, ending in a boss fight, and then with a chest, with loot in it. You can queue for these in the Vanguard, or queue up for strikes of your choice from the map. That's the PvE side. The Crucible is your PvP. You get a control points mode, like Domination from COD, among others. But this is the one that I played the most. Bring whatever guns you want. Everyone's level here balances out, so everybody's on the same playing field. The Iron Banner is different though. Levels don't balance out here. Good luck. One of my favorite game modes in a shooter right now, Gambit, is a PvE and PvP mix. You compete with another team to shoot bad guys. You bring like souls, I guess is a way to describe them, back to a turbo encabulator from slain enemies, and then eventually fight a big boss. You want to kill the big boss before your opponent does. Every once in a while, a portal opens that allows you to invade the enemy team and prevent them from accomplishing their goal. But the catch is, they can do it too. Oh no. Oh no. Woo, that was close. It's a unique and interesting way to do PvE and PvP combined. I like it a lot.
Hey, easy there. You got him.
The main complaint I had with Destiny before Shadowkeep, and it was especially prevalent in Destiny 1, was the game's lacking in storytelling and world building. I can definitely tell you that the game won't go out of its way to explain every little nook and cranny lore-wise. The system of roaming around the game and eventually coming across these little codex entries that you can view at your leisure is back, and some say that's not really much faith in your writing there. I think that's a fair argument, but at its most bare, Destiny as a sandbox environment for a shooter game is very well put together. Destiny 2 does an excellent job of pulling me into a space opera that is set on different worlds, sometimes desolate and barren, sometimes dotted with structures shrouded in mystery and intrigue, and sometimes completely alien and unfamiliar. The art team has a field day with every single level they make here. There is so much effort put into the level designs, Shadowkeep in particular. I was blown away. It looks like something out of a Castlevania game. Mercury is like ancient Egypt in space. Definitely see a lot of influences from Stargate there. Weapons and their designs combine elements of sci-fi inspiration as well as the distinct features of familiar guns in the real world, kind of like how Star Wars did it. Did somebody say Bullpup Kalashnikov? Did somebody say Space P90? Did somebody say Space WA2000? Did somebody say... Okay, this is literally just a painted AR. The thematics, the sound design, the music, the performances by all the cast involved, it's all mint.
We have found no success in locating it despite our best efforts. If you truly covet our wares, then understand. We would very much like our forge back. And Guardian, if you would return empty-handed, you'd best not return at all.
And when we start talking about the music, ooh, it gets me a little, ooh. And it makes sense that the soundtrack is so good when you see who composed it. Michael Salvatori, who worked with your boy Marty throughout the Halo games. And perhaps, actually not even perhaps, what is factually the biggest big dick energy move to have ever happened in video game composing. Marty did work on the Destiny soundtrack in the past, and he's responsible for the main theme, you know, the one that goes, oh, 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 that one. He also collaborated with Paul McCartney.
Hey Marty, it's Paul here calling from England. Just to let you know that I've had a chance to listen to the piece you sent back, and I really like it. I think it's really cool.
So Marty got fired from Bungie shortly before the game came out. He wasn't around to receive his award for Destiny that got the best original soundtrack at the VGAs. So that's what we call a Kojima moment. He gets the award in principle and then sues his former employer to eventually get all of his bonuses anyway, because the courts just kind of looked at Bungie Corporate and were like,
"Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?"
So Marty gets his money and the award for a game he composed after getting fired from that employer. If that isn't big dick energy in the dictionary, then it should be. Get on it, Websters. Fortunately, Marty still managed to leave the Bungie guys in good hands with Salvatore. Epic is just the best way to describe this soundtrack, in my opinion. It's grandiose, it's bombastic, it fits the tone and theme of this game perfectly. You got a little bit of sci-fi boops and beeps here, occasionally swirled into the mix. They're composed just as well as the bass line that consists of an old-fashioned classical orchestra with a wide accompaniment of strings, brass, and choirs. It fits the space opera idea they're getting at here very well, and it makes the gameplay feel at times like you're playing a character in a movie. It's been a very, very long time since a soundtrack has been so good that I just kind of had to stop for a second and just listen. Just let it sink in with my headphones on. Not since Marty the Goat O'Donnell hit you with that saxophone track from ODST. God bless him. Composers don't get nearly enough credit. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to play you a clip from the session of Gambit. We're pretty damn close to losing, and we have to cover more ground than the enemy team in a very short amount of time. The soundtrack seemed to actually go into a breakdown by sheer coincidence at that particular moment, and it was really fucking cool.
Got this. All right. Supercharge your life and let that prime.
Yeah, baby!
Yes, sir. That's what I call hunting.
Let's go! And like I said, equally impressive here is the level design of this game, with several rich locations to explore, all rife with content and hosted by an eclectic cast of characters which are all well casted and well acted, including but not limited to Okoye, Old Man Twinkles, Robot with a Smoking Habit, Big Man Twinkles, Hey Kid Wanna Buy Bounties, and yikes. Just in time for spooky season, Bungie releases Shadowkeep, an expansion for Destiny 2 that takes place on the moon as it has been taken over by the... and you gotta deal with it. The lunar landscape is littered with Fallen and Hive, with the occasional appearance by the Vex. Navigating the moon's gray desert provides you with some of the coolest visuals in a sci-fi game I can think of, and there's all sorts of nooks and crannies to explore and mobs to wreck or get wrecked by. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Was this a mistake? Okay, yeah, it was. I've enjoyed my time thus far in Shadowkeep, and it's worth considering a purchase if you'd like to play through the missions here on the moon. Think of it like a whole new zone to play on like any other MMO. But what I like the most about Destiny 2 is that it has something for everybody, and few games nowadays, especially first-person shooters, are capable of saying that. In a marketplace that is inundated with what game is going to appeal to the esports crowd, or what game is going to do this formula right, or what game is going to do the looter shooter thing, or the open world, what's going to implement this microtransaction system, this guy got banned from this game, I just want to grill for God's sake. Destiny 2 doesn't have to deal with any of that, because if you want to play more casually, you can play casually. There's quick play, there's strikes. Do you want an extra challenge? You can queue up for Nightfall ones, you can do the raids. If you want to sweat, you can sweat in Iron Banner, you can sweat in Gambit Prime. There's competitive modes of all the PvP stuff. If you really want to know for sure, you don't lose anything by just trying it. It's free. And maybe an hour or two wasted if you don't like it, but besides that, what's the worst that could happen? But more importantly than that, the reason I think that you should try Destiny 2 is... Oh, baby! Let's go! Let's do a power attack. Oh, baby! That's cool as fuck. Destiny 2, in my opinion, kinda sucked when it first came out, and I don't think anybody halfway through year 1 of Siege saw this game going anywhere at that point. Gaming nowadays has become very numbers-based. We think of a game that isn't getting a shit zillion hits every day on Twitch as dead or dying, when the real definition of a dead game is a game you can no longer play, like Lawbreakers. Apex Legends is considered dead to some people, despite often getting more hits than Siege on Twitch. CSGO is considered on the decline, because its viewers have tapered off, as if the tapering off of viewers of Formula 1 makes it any less than Formula 1. Oh, NFL ratings are going down, the NFL's dying. Listen, the only thing that's going to kill the NFL are zebras. Unfortunately, there's no zebras in Destiny 2. Destiny 2 doesn't ask a lot of you. It gives you the option, but it doesn't ask. It just kind of leaves it there, and lets you decide if you want to do it or not. But when you check into the door, the only thing it asks of you is this. Be brave. And that's all you need to know about Destiny 2.
This is Houston. Radio check. Please respond.
Moon's haunted.
Well, that didn't go well.